Are we live on us? Well,
hi, everybody. Welcome to our conversation.
Oh, yeah, we were just talking about, vlogging and video production and stuff like that.
And vlogging from phones in the old days of YouTube and all that kind of stuff.
How appropriate that you should now join us for this this live stream here at Newegg Studios.
Yeah, we wanted to, instead of the beautiful set you have seen us on before, we were like, let's take everybody behind the scenes and do a little live thing. So that back there that you can probably maybe see behind my head is a Division 2 build that's being photographed and taken some beautiful video of that we will have a video on our YouTube channel and stuff in the future of.
It's real pretty.
BTS right now for you guys.
It's real good.
It's real nice. But yeah, so whether you're watching us, I think we're currently streaming. I could be wrong. I'll get a message from over there.
Right.
I think we're currently streaming on Twitch, on YouTube, on Periscope, on there's one more that I'm missing, and on Mixer.
Might be on Mixer.
Thank you.
So we're all over the place, and
Yeah.
it's and we are going to be sort of, because we're streaming all over the place. We did have a few little audio gremlins just creeping up, so just forewarning you guys, like, you might see stuff and some background stuff, and we'll be fixing some stuff in the stream. But we have some fun techie gaming, mobile conversations that we want to jump into, and we've been getting your thoughts on a number of these stories. So we can jump into some conversations.
Yeah, so you guys have probably seen the poll videos we've been putting up on the YouTube channel, which making use of YouTube's poll feature is cool and a better way for us to involve you. And we were talking a lot about the kind of previous iteration of Newegg Now and what that was and how we were doing a live show, but we weren't interacting as much as we wanted to. So we thought, we've kind of taken a break for the holidays, and we were at CES. Thank you for everyone who checked out our CES coverage. And then we took a little bit of a break. So we wanted to have this very real conversation where we're letting everyone know that we're back and we're going to start making more consistent content for you. And we'd love your help to kind of figure out what that is and how that shapes up. So doing these poll videos and then kind of discussing them is just one of the many ideas we had of ways that we can better get to know the Newegg community.
Well, and then also incorporating, we've got a great team that does the Newegg plays.
Yes.
And we like playing games too. I mean,
we like crashing the Newegg Plays streams
so
as well.
We should, we get to do that a little bit more often. That'd be fun also. So a lot of changes coming up to our formats and to the shows and the properties that we're going to be talking about. But again, hopefully that we're making some fun stuff that you all also get to contribute. Part of the conversation, part of the discussion.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
So with that being said, Juan, what was the poll video that you made and put up?
Okay, so MWC wrapped up last week. We both come from sort of covering a lot of mobile news and smartphone and mobile coverage. And so MWC in Spain, Barcelona, it's the big show. That's like the first half of the year. That's
I have gone once in my life, and it was
twice,
crazy.
And it's nuts. And it's Barcelona, and it's amazing, and I don't speak Catalan. But it's incredible. And so there were a whole bunch of reveals. These are the new smartphones that are going to be coming out for the year. But I think the topic that got the most ink in the press was the battle of the bendy phones. The foldable phone fight.
Is crazy because I don't know if you got hands-on with the foldable phone at CES.
Oh yeah, the Royale with cheese flex pie?
Yes,
yes, I did get to play with
not
that.
a great phone, but we were all like, oh my gosh, a bendy display, yes! They beat Samsung to the punch, oh my gosh. Yeah, we kind of all did that, and now we hit MWC and we see a lot of the big players coming out with a bendable display, and I am someone who gets hyped about everything.
Okay.
And it's hard for me to get hyped about these phones.
That's
I can
fair.
appreciate that the Galaxy Fold is a brand new device category all on its own, and I can appreciate the specs that are in it. It looks like a total beast. The price tag is also quite beastly, and I don't know that there's enough there from any of the foldable phones that I saw come out of MWC to make me think, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy that. I'm very interested to watch where they go and see what happens with it, and I love what the technology that is flexible screens opens up.
The potential there, totally.
Like I know Royale had at CES like wearables with foldable screens and stuff like that.
We've seen some concepts like people turning bracelets into phones.
Yep.
So again, it's not that I want to hammer the the manufacturing or the bendable phone technology.
No, I love the technology. I just don't want to pay $2,000 for a phone that turns into a tablet.
So we're going to get to the poll thing. Is it, we haven't had this conversation yet, so I'm excited to be in this conversation right now. And I'm seeing people in the live chat that are kind of joining us on this flow. So stay with us for just a second.
Family Show says, I personally think that foldable phones are just a fad on Twitch.
So here's what I want to ask you.
Okay.
Do you think there could have been room for a company to come out and say, we're going to make like a Google Glass Explorer edition of a foldable phone?
Okay.
Because I don't believe that these are really ready for mainstream, consumer-facing. I don't think that they're real phones. They're kind of experiments to get a foot in first.
Yeah, say I was the first to market with this.
And then you get some good data from those people who are willing to throw $2,000 at a luxury of an experiment. And then you come back in a year or two with something that's more mainstream. And I almost wonder, like, I think I would have respected a Samsung or a Huawei or a Royale more if they had said, like, we're going to put these out in a limited edition fashion. We want to see what people do with them. We want to see how they're used. We want to see the durability, what we need to improve on.
Yes.
And then we're going, so maybe like an invite system, there's sort of a limited number of early adopters.
Yeah.
And then they start pushing towards something that would have been a more legit, this is a phone that could also be for your grandmother.
Yes, I think Samsung should hire you to help with their launch strategy.
Oh, and Samsung won't even talk to me. So.
I agree. I think that would have been a smarter play given what it is, because they are undoubtedly going to face, once it launches, probably pretty low sales numbers. And I think a lot of...
And by design.
Right, and by design. But I think a lot of people are going to look at that and say, oh, well, look, it wasn't a success, even though... by design, as you said, it's set out to be more of a concept phone, but because they kind of launched it right along with their flagships. And then there's also did they launch it with their flagships just to make that $1,250 price tag not hurt so bad?
Well, I mean, this phone costs $2,200. This $1,000 phone, by comparison, is a bargain.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
half the price. Because I feel like that's totally legit for Galaxy S10 5G being a $1,500 phone, and that probably being the path towards getting the next Note. I feel like the next Note is going to have like a bunch of that DNA. And there's no way we don't get a Note that's more expensive than its S counterpart, right? I mean, like you add the S Pen and everything else too, like we're in that ballpark with 5G being all the I think we should do a poll on 5G for next week, like for our next series of
We
videos,
could.
so.
I mean, I don't. Well, then I was just going to talk about 5G, but I won't if we're going to hold that off
let's hold
for
that.
next time.
Pause it. So we put out the poll, and we got some pretty interesting numbers. Like the main combatants were the Galaxy Fold, which folds in, the main tablet screen closes, and then there's like a little weird porthole mini screen on the front. And then there's the Huawei Mate X, which folds out. So your main phone screen is half of the tablet, and then it flips out to be the full tablet. And then, kind of as a joke, but not really, LG didn't want to be left out of the conversation. So they have the V50, but the V50 will have a companion case that you snap the phone in, and then you get a second screen. And it's a little similar to like what Asus did with the ROG. You can use it for like being a controller in a video game or having two apps running at the same time, but it's not really meant to be seamless. I kind of put that in there as a joke. But the poll numbers were actually kind of interesting. So the Galaxy Fold walked away with the majority of the vote. 46% of you voted for the Galaxy Fold.
I think most people are familiar with the Galaxy Fold. That had the best marketing out of the three, so I would attribute some of that to that.
Well, and also Huawei in the news, lots of other peripheral conversations. We don't need to get into that right now. He said holding a Huawei laptop. Huawei Mate X walked away with 36% of the vote.
Yeah.
LG V50 scraped and clawed up to 17%. So I thought that was interesting. It's not like people don't want the versatility, the extra real estate, like I can do split screening apps better or have game controls, something like that. It's just maybe you want a more practical, regular smartphone I mean, again, the V50 is probably going to be ballpark $1,000. But then when you need it or when you want it, you can snap that on there and go dual display.
Or I wonder if that's just like LG V20 fans still like, hey, I'm hoping for the next thing, which it totally could be. V20 was great.
There are a few of us out there that like LG hardware.
Yes, absolutely. But I can say I did not get hands-on with any of the phones that we're talking about in the poll, but I did get hands-on with the Royale at CES, and having the screen be the outside of the Fold was very awkward.
Okay.
Because when you folded the phone, at least for that, you were accidentally pressing buttons, and like you could very easily, by holding the phone to your ear, be pressing things on this side of the screen.
That's true.
Now, of course, they can have some type of software so that you can't press buttons when it's in certain positions, et cetera, et cetera.
Sort of.
But you could see how that might be an issue, or could just be a fingerprint nightmare or a scratch nightmare or whatever. So I think people are still figuring out this sector of what this device is.
I don't really feel like they're real yet. You know what I mean? Like we need a little marinating. The pie still needs to be baked here. Because like for all of those concerns, one of the things that I was really excited about with the Mate X, only one set of cameras. So your selfies are taken from the best cameras on the phone, and Huawei cameras have been really good lately, and then just part of the screen becomes your composition window. You can flip it. Like I'd want a Mate X and maybe never even open it, just because you have the best possible cameras, and then you don't have that weird, crazy huge eyebrow notch cutting out of your tablet.
You hate the notch so much.
Hate the notch so much. Notches are the worst thing ever, and they're terrible. And anyone who's coming out with a notch in 2019 is just doing it wrong.
Hey, hold on. I'm going to pause this conversation for a second. Mike, can you get in here and say hi, please?
So many people want you to just come say hello.
And especially like one person that's just really like, Mike, I don't believe he's here. I think they abducted him.
Mr. C.
Mr. C.
Hang out with these guys, man.
Like, what are you doing? He's here. He's actually helping us run this. Why do you think we're running this way?
But we did not kidnap him and steal him.
Dennis isn't even here, and he's talking trash in the live chat. Oh, hold the current newspaper because we abducted you from.
By the way, I'm gonna go and play with my foldable phone now.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, and also I love the blue hair.
Thank you.
You gotta have blue hair.
Looking real good.
20XD6.
But yeah, so for those of you who may just be tuning in a little later in the stream, we said this in the beginning of the stream, but this is kind of a new thing we're trying where we get to play around with the Newegg Plays audience as well, and kind of uniting the Newegg community that is the YouTube, the Twitches, the Periscopes, the Mixer. We're just kind of bringing it all together. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. And if there is something you'd specifically like to see in kind of this live stream format of tech discussion content, please let us know in the chat. Totally. This is very malleable, and it's all of ours. It's not ours, it's all of ours.
All of ours.
Please get right on in there with opinions and stuff like that.
So we got a bunch of comments on that poll video from Mike Thalos on YouTube. I like the Huawei Mate X. When you open the screen, there is no bezel.
Okay.
So like it's more screen real estate.
Great.
Again, no notch. The Fold keeps the screen on the outside, making it more usable in my opinion. Matthew Rath, as a tech head, I like it. As a web developer, I hate them.
Ooh, I like that opinion.
Because again, I mean, like if you have a rectangle skinny when you've got a phone, then you open up to a square tablet. So you get more screen real estate until you want to like watch a video. And then it's like
it's a weird format that I think is going to take definitely some audience testing. And you're right, probably would have been more interesting in a limited release with that specific purpose in mind of let's get hands on this and let's see what people think before we launch a full flagship version of it.
From LS2, they are just too pricey with questionable durability. Plastic displays need to be flexible so you can bend them, and hinges, so corner drop, means like the screen might survive, but you're going to damage pieces.
It makes me so nervous.
Repairability, like how do you repair them? I've seen a few concepts for Galaxy Fold cases, but they're going to be these thin, like bumpery kind of cases, which aren't going to protect a whole lot.
No.
So many unanswered questions on that.
But really cool tech.
But really cool tech. And so I was in a podcast last night, Easy Computer Solutions, and one of the ideas that kind of sprung to mind is, what if we had like a flip phone again? So phones are now like 2x1.
I saw someone in chat saying they have a flip phone that folds great.
It's great. it folds better than an iPhone 6.
Right.
So you have your 2x1 display that then folds into like a square kind of Nintendo style.
Yeah.
You have like a little mini display, and then when you want like a 6-inch display, you go bloop, and then you have like a rectangle again.
It's an option.
I mean, for my Levi's 501s, a better pocketable, like kind of a makeup compact size.
Sure.
Easier gadget to keep with you. I mean, I just miss having tiny phones like an iPhone SE or an Xperia Compact.
Yeah, and I'm someone that
Something
likes a larger phone. But a 7-inch tablet or more than 7-inch tablet in my phone. Yeah, I don't know what the use cases would be yet for it, but I'm excited to see what this technology brings.
Well, like Sylvia Keller. I'd prefer a phone that doesn't fold out to be bigger, but something that folds down to be smaller and can fit in my pocket would be great.
That's true.
Especially because women don't get real pockets. They get like dull pockets.
Well, you've seen me walk around with my big honkin' Pixel 3 XL sticking out of my back pocket. It like the bottom 30% of it maybe fits in my pocket, and then the rest just sticks
But that's
out.
happening to me now too. I mean, like my V40 sticks way out of my pants pockets, even for being a dude. I'm not going back to cargo pants to walk around with my gadgets. Go
ahead.
Oh, no. Just from some other comments here from Nate Singh. Screen doesn't really matter. Removable battery, SD card expansion, durability, reasonable price. $2,000 for these phones is just crazy expensive. From Rajneesh, I like the V50 idea. Since it's a convertible phone, it's convenient and not weird to use in the portrait orientation. The other two would not feel very natural to me when folded. And then from Ahmed, this is a little bit longer. I don't like the way the Mate X did it. For starters, there'd be a crease in the middle.
Okay.
So bending it around the outside, maybe that would put more strain on the display. A problem that the Galaxy Fold doesn't have since it folds inwards. The second is that these foldable phones have plastic screens, not glass, so unlike most other phones. But since the Galaxy folds inwards, it's somewhat protected. The Mate, on the other hand, is always exposed. But I saw photos from people on the MWC show floor, and if you caught the Galaxy Fold at an angle, you could see where the plastic had been. You know, it's not folding flat. There is like a sort of a Surface Book gap.
Okay.
But there is still sort of a wear crease forming
already
on the demo units, which we would hope would be solved for production, but we don't know.
Yeah, I have been doing this long enough to realize that what companies promise is not always what we get in final production. So I do take things like demo unit creases when it comes to durability very seriously. You everything okay back there? Oh yeah.
We're just dropping stuff. It's fine. We're doing it live. I love it.
So yeah, Mobile World Congress. We were not there in person, but that doesn't mean that we can't
Actually,
talk about it.
For the main body of the show, we were here.
We were here.
Stapling our studio back together. Were there any other announcements that you caught at MWC from being my favorite mobile pal from back in the day? I mean, something else that maybe caught your eye? Or,
no, not really. I didn't really pay too much attention to this year's MWC, which I know we had talked about a little bit off camera before we started this stream. There wasn't really anything coming out from a lot of my friends that made me depart from from the other things I was currently doing to pay attention. I was like, incremental upgrades to everything. The main players were there. Folding phones are new, and that's kind of cool.
Kind of exciting.
But other than that, there wasn't anything that grabbed me and said, hey, you have to look at this. What about you?
Well, I want before we'll talk about me. I love talking about me. We were having a conversation where you just feel like your smartphone needs have been shifting.
Yeah.
And that like manufacturers aren't
That's
really
true.
addressing that. We had the 10th anniversary of the iPhone with the iPhone 10, and Apple changed a whole bunch. Samsung with the S10, I don't feel like I felt like the big announcement was, oh, we've got the Galaxy Fold, but for people that wanted the 10th anniversary of a Galaxy phone, it didn't do it for you. It wasn't the exciting thing that you wanted to see.
No, and my main sticking point when it comes to smartphones for the past, I'd say 5 years or so, has been content creation. I want to see what the camera can do. I want to see what the video camera can do. I want to see what the audio recording is like. Because I do content creation for a living, that's particularly of use to me. Now, that's not necessarily particularly of use to most of the smartphone buying public.
Right.
So I understand that I'm very niche, but it's why I was attracted to a phone like the LG V20. and why the S9 didn't necessarily do it for me because their software video bokeh was not the coolest. Yeah, it was not awesome in my opinion. And then now I've got the Pixel 3 XL, which I really like still photos on, but I feel like is heavily lacking when it comes to video and audio recording.
Fair enough.
So there's kind of been nothing that has been the ultimate phone for me. And now if we're going to be charging $1,500 or $2,000 for a smartphone, and those are the main features I'm looking for, perhaps I should just get a camera.
Yeah.
Like perhaps I should just get a really nice compact camera and keep that separate from my smartphone.
So you mean like a proper camera, not like what was the DJI? Was that
no,
little
I mean
guy?
Like a vlogging a camera, like a Sony camera made for vlogging with a flip-up screen.
Gotcha.
What's that new one is that the new one that everyone's testing right now? I'm forgetting.
The A-series.
The mirrorless one. Yeah. Maybe I should just do something like that and keep my smartphone life separate, or maybe if I get a camera that's Wi-Fi enabled or something like that, maybe that's a smarter play. So I feel like as a smartphone consumer, my needs are shifting.
Gotcha.
How did you feel about MWC?
So the phone that made me the most silly excited, I actually have right here.
Dun, dun, dun. I was hoping you'd talk about this.
Plot twist. Here, I'm gonna put down my laptop for just a second. I mean, it's not like we can zoom in or anything. There's no one behind the camera. They're all in the office right now. It's just us right here. So we'll just.
Oh, no one's back there except for Fog and a real sweet Division 2 build.
I mean, you can kind of see it off in the distance. I've seen it up close, and let me tell you, it's pretty awesome. Maybe you guys will get to see it too.
Yeah.
No, the phone that I'm most excited about kind of even isn't really a real phone. Kind of what I was saying before.
Yeah.
I feel so. This is the Nokia 9 PureView.
Check it out.
It's the one with the crazy bug eye of lenses. So it's 5 cameras, a depth sensor, and a flash on the back in this really cool Yeah, well, here I'll hand it to Mike. Don't drop it, it's glass. And there was only one at every Best Buy in town. So
I Am Box on Twitch says that picture you took of the plant/flower was crazy.
It's such a hard phone to talk about though. So everything that they're doing, and I've been sharing photos from it, it's all about trying to make a more photographic look with more realistic depth of field.
Yes, which it does, because we were comparing the
Pixel.
bokeh on the Pixel 3 XL with what this can do. And I mean, there's a big difference.
It's really cool. It's very impressive.
It's very natural looking. It's very, I went out and shot this with a DSLR. That's what it looks like, which is great.
We're getting so much closer to actually like recreating that lens feel. There are a lot of other silly and funky things going on with this phone. I'm gonna have to have a bunch of videos just to kind of explain. Well, it's like this, but it's a little different, and it's not. Anyone who's coming out with a video like this week saying, "Oh, here's a camera review," is probably wrong.
Yeah, but your quickie first impressions are
what they've built this phone on is amazing. There are some very other like quality of life and lifestyle problems with this, but then they're kind of putting it out there as a limited edition. They're not putting it out there as like their mainstream successor to a Nokia 8 or a Nokia 7. Some of these like, where they're showing some crazy growth. Like this is a brand that's kind of reviving itself on Android. But when they did the announcement like, oh, that's really interesting. I really want to see what they can do with that. And then they have this on sale now. So for $600, it's in OnePlus territory with a very unique solution for the main camera. And I've started doing like capture from the front, where the front camera shoots 4K HDR video.
Great. For me, that was always my priority, is what can the front camera do so that I can see what's in frame when I'm on location at Microsoft Build or something like that. I want to know if the drone choreography is in my field of view. It's important. Crazy Family Show says, I remember the Nokia phones that had a 24 megapixel camera, which took great pictures. Yes, it did.
And so there was also the 1020. So that's the thing I really want to put this up against, was that 40 megapixel image sensor that they had, which was a larger surface area.
The 1020 is, I put my mom on a 1020 because what she really needed was a camera that could also be a phone.
It's so
perfect.
good. But yeah, perfect. But I mean, like another comment here from Meraki
on YouTube.
I apologize for mispronouncing your name probably. I prefer a phone with a battery that will actually last me all day. Surprise companies charge up to $1,000 for a device that does not last very long when being actively used. And that's another thing I hope we see sort of addressed as a general trend is we're trying to say like $1,000 is for the brands that we used to have as mainstream solutions, Galaxies and iPhones. Now $1,000. I still feel like $600 is the sweet spot for a phone that's really going to get you through your day. You're not going to hate interacting with it. Yeah. It's powerful enough, it's fast enough, it's smooth enough. What are you doing with your smartphone cameras at $1,000? I mean, are you just throwing up a couple photos on Instagram or Facebook or something like that? Why are we pretending that that's the mainstream solution?
Right.
I want a good premium option.
It's a niche option for sure. And also RIP removable batteries. I held on to the LG V20 for so long.
I still have mine.
I still have one at home. I have it mounted in the back of my in my tech set at home in my studio. It does have a place of honor because it was the last flagship, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I'm pretty sure it was the last flagship that had a swappable battery that you could take the back off and pop a battery in there. And for years, that was one of my main arguments of why I prefer Android phones over the iPhone is because of the expandable storage and the swappable battery. Now, thank goodness we still have the expandable storage on certain phones because I was scared that was going to go away for a while,
I think we're going to see it start eroding more, though. Just like headphone jacks, I think like LG and Samsung will be the holdouts, and then by like 2021, we'll all have like complete... Although, okay, so I think it was Xiaomi had a... Whoever tried to put it up on Kickstarter as a holeless phone.
Yeah.
That's a terrible word to describe. It sounds dirty.
Yeah.
It's not, but it sounds bad. But that Kickstarter crashed and burned, had like 20 backers.
Yikes.
So no charge port, no headphone jack. It's a totally sealed phone. That's the right answer.
Oh, I hate it.
Oh,
I feel also like, am I the curmudgeon-y old lady on my porch in my rocking chair that just hates change? Maybe.
Yep.
Maybe, but I'm used to I have things that plug into headphone jacks that I would like to continue to use. Like,
when I get rid of that stuff, I want to make the jump like directly to like augmented reality Tony Stark interfaces. I don't want this evolutionary middle step of phones that...
So from a headphone jack to Jarvis.
Or like from a headphone jack to a jack in my skull.
Great, perfect.
And that way I can keep 3.5 millimeter. It just goes direct. It's terrible. So that's phones.
That's phones. We did also throw up a poll about Vidmo games.
We should probably get to the poll. I think the poll about video games is probably going to be more incendiary.
So it was interesting because we were kind of talking about like what's going on in the world of video games right now that might really get people talking, that people might really have strong opinions on. And while I am not the biggest FPS or Battle Royale player in the universe. I can enjoy them, but I am not good at them. Self-admittedly, that's not my type of game. I can definitely speak to what's going on in the Battle Royale genre world as far as the dynamite success that Apex Legends has been and the conversations surrounding what we posed as the question to you guys, can Apex Legends dethrone Fortnite in 2019? And I kind of like the phrasing, rather than dethrone, I kind of like the phrasing of, will Apex Legends be the Fortnite of 2019?
Okay.
Will it be the Battle Royale that everyone's talking about, that no one anticipated and now everybody's playing? And the poll results were fascinating to everyone here at Newegg because I think we all thought there was going to be more support for Fortnite than there was.
Really? Okay.
So the
break down the numbers. Let's talk the numbers.
75% of you said that yes, you believe Apex Legends will dethrone Fortnite in 2019. That is a huge majority. 16% of you said no, and the remaining of you put this was my personal addition to the poll.
The joke.
No thanks, I'm too busy playing Stardew Valley to care about Battle Royale right now. So 7% of you.
One of those votes was mine.
Stardew Valley is a great game. I love it very much.
Not only a great game, it's going to be coming to mobile this month. So iPhone and Android.
There you go.
Again, I want to support those good games that are coming to mobile. So I'm back on Stardew Valley again to get warmed up for it.
Date everybody and have the best farm. Stardew Valley is amazing. But it brought up a lot of very interesting conversation around what Apex Legends is doing differently than Fortnite, maybe what it's the first at doing versus what Fortnite was the first to bring to the table.
Right.
We had a really interesting conversation about how Fortnite was maybe the first shooter to, or the first kind of gone mainstream shooter to incorporate so many survival elements. So you could even argue that it's not a shooter, it's a survival game that is online multiplayer. And we were talking about that with Newegg Nick just off screen.
I was just making the joke, but it kind of is true that if we're talking about Battle Royale as a genre, that Fortnite actually got us to the feeling of the movie Battle Royale, dumping you on this map. You have to like survive in other ways and build up structures and then get your weapons and then go out and kill people. Like, I almost feel like we could make a Battle Royale, the movie Battle Royale game.
They have.
But Fortnite gets us really close to that. So, but because I know we've talked about being more like single player, campaign, story driven players, you personally have been landing more on the Apex side of this than your gaming experiences on Fortnite.
Yeah, so I have been jumping in, I get it, to Apex Legends a little bit recently, and a big reason why I'm enjoying that experience, even though, as I mentioned earlier, I am not the best at first-person shooters. The reason I've been enjoying the experience is because I found friends to play with, which sounds like the saddest thing in the world, but I myself am also most of the time a solo gamer, very story-driven experiences. I feel like a lot of that has to do with being a child of the 80s and growing up with games where you either play them by yourself or you invite a friend over, right, and it's couch co-op or you're swapping back and forth. But it wasn't this like, I want to jump online with 100 strangers and just, it's a kill or be killed type of world.
Totally.
And so for me, that makes me a little uncomfortable. My gaming time is my me time. It's my calm time, not my time to get aggressive with people I've never met before. But because I have found friends who are playing this right now and are, God bless their hearts, willing to play with me because I am the team handicap. It's like going back to gym class in 2nd grade. I am the team handicap, admittedly, but they're willing to bring me onto their team. Because of that, I'm enjoying playing with my friends. And there are some things about this game that I really think are doing well, like the ping system, which now is going to have its own version in Fortnite. But being able to communicate with your teammates without necessarily using a headset or microphone is so important. It's important for accessibility reasons.
Oh, absolutely, totally.
It's important for, as a female, there are a lot of females, myself included, that sometimes do not speak up on mic because maybe you don't want everyone to know that you're a girl because then they'll attribute the fact that you're not good instead of you being a noob, but because you're female, and that's very frustrating.
I mean, you had to break it down for me. I was actually, we were in a completely different conversation, and I was like, well, I just don't understand the popularity of all these voice-changing plugins on things like gaming headsets and gaming sound cards.
A lot of women that play online games voice mod.
I did not know that was a thing.
Like, I'm like, if you want to give me crap in a game because I'm bad at a game, do that all day. But if you want to give me crap in a game just because of my gender, that's frustrating.
I can appreciate that.
Right? So I think that the ping system allows people to circumnavigate some of those concerns, or people that are just genuinely more introverted and don't want to speak up when they're squatted up with randoms.
This is something that's exciting in talking about like accessibility in general, and then we'll get back into the game because I want to hear your thoughts on some of these because I'm just not into battle royales. Are not the thing that make me light up. When you design a fluid, simplified kind of interaction like that, it's better for everybody. Like, you can bring up the sort of like liberal guilty, like, oh no, this gets everyone playing and communicating, accessibility issues, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But by streamlining that, like, that's just better for everybody. You can have like your sort of, I'm talking to my friend chat, but for the game, bam, ping, I'm over here, bam, hit that, bam, do this. And it's that efficiency of communication, which I think is making people really excited for, and, I mean, again, I'm extrapolating this from literally 45 minutes of just getting my ass handed to me and dying, and then sort of quietly putting the game away, probably never to be played again on this whole get good cycle of live, die, repeat. So.
I don't know. I've been playing keyboard and mouse. So having the ping button be the scroll wheel is just super easy. It doesn't take you out of whatever you're doing. And I had a friend say it really well to me who's been playing a lot of Apex Legends, and he streams a lot of it. He was like, when I think Apex Legends versus Fortnite, I think shooty versus buildy. And he's like, and I really like the shooty part, not so much the buildy, so I'm leaning more towards Apex Legends. Which I was like, you know, that's a very simplified way to say it. I also really like the fact that when you pick your legend in Apex Legends, it's more of like an Overwatch-esque, your tactical ability and your ultimate ability. You can choose the type of character that supports your play style, and there's a whole three-dimensional feel and backstory, and I would love to see cinematic shorts and, you know, all the stuff that we've seen Blizzard do so well with Overwatch in the world of Apex Legends.
Into the campaign, which kind of helps.
Well, someone had said earlier, and I'm sorry your chat went by too quickly and I didn't see it, but someone had said, you know, there's no flossing in Apex Legends, so I got to stick with Fortnite. But it's true, like Fortnite has the cartoony style, it has the dance moves, it's got a lot to draw people in, and I think that these are both very separate endeavors. So I also live in a world where it's not Apex Legends versus Fortnite, it's why not both?
Okay.
You know?
And for me, sort of like in the Twitch chat, I believe it was I Am Box, you know, if you like the shooty, buildy, you know, the dichotomy, I'm like way over on the buildy, and like I Am Box, like I'm totally still into games like Ark.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to do survival, I don't need the shooty.
Right.
I'll just do all the buildy.
I would just like the survival.
And everything's great.
Right. And Steve says, what about Titanfall? Yes, we should also mention that Apex Legends is from Respawn, and so it's set in the world of Titanfall. And one of the things I really liked about Titanfall, again, even though I'm not great at shooters, I could still have a great time parkouring all over the place and at least get one mech drop at some point in each match. And the slide mechanic, the slide movement in Apex Legends has some of that same fun, like just keep it moving, just keep running aspect to it. So that's cool as well.
So I thought it was interesting, you know, especially seeing this being the split, because I feel like we're going to see a fad of battle royales. Whatever stays at the top, I think will probably enjoy a shorter and shorter window of being the top pick, right? As more companies walk into the space. Like, well, I mean, think about, like, we saw Black Ops. Yeah. We saw Activision throw their hat into this ring with a known property and really on-the-rail first-person shooter mechanics. I mean, Black Ops is known for that military shooter style. But, I mean, is it, I don't know what the Twitch listings are. I know it's probably not top 10.
I feel like Call of Duty had a decent launch and then kind of petered out, whereas Apex Legends had a good launch and is still going strong, which is why people are talking about it in comparison to Fortnite. Now, obviously, Fortnite's been out a lot longer. It's on a ton of different platforms. It's had a lot of new content released for it. It remains to be seen where Apex Legends goes from here. I know a lot of people are frustrated because they heard Respawn come out and say, oh, we're going to have more content, and everyone's anxiously waiting for it.
Totally. From Swift Meraki, I think the deciding factor will be Apex Legends Battle Pass and how good or bad that is. And then whether or not that's going to compete well against, like, the seasons mechanic at Fortnite.
We'll see. I would also wonder if there's going to be like a solo play or duo mode for Apex Legends, so it's not always a squad of 3.
Like you think I have 2 friends? Come on.
I know, that's how I kind of feel. I found a squad. I was streaming Apex Legends on Sunday, and
look at Miss Popularity over here.
I know. I found 2 friends that were willing to play with me, and it was fantastic.
That's hilarious.
It was very, very fun. A solo would be cool in Apex, as Zippo Man,
awesome.
Zippo Man 18 on Twitch. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to discuss with what it could be. But when we asked you guys, we asked you to kind of put on your fortune teller hat.
I've got comments from the actual video.
Please,
if you want to go through some of those.
I'd love to.
So from Zephram0911, I hated Fortnite even after playing it for 4 seasons, but Apex Legends made me decay from a top 500 NA Flex support main in Overwatch. I've only played 2 ranked games of Overwatch since Apex launched.
Whoa!
So that I'd love to hear your opinion on this because
Converting Overwatch players.
Yeah, do you think that Apex, not just, because we saw like when Apex launched, brilliant launch campaign by the way. Let's not tease it, let's not try and build up hype, just bam, here it is, and a week later you're playing the game.
Well, they did a lot of influencer work, specifically on Twitch.
But they didn't do that like 3 years beforehand, here's a glimpse of what we're coming, and it was like 1 week to the next. You knew about the game, and then you were playing
and everyone was playing it. But yeah, they got a lot of high-profile influencers right at launch.
Oh, totally.
They also had, I don't know if everybody knows this is a thing, but Twitch has a thing that might still be in closed beta called the Bounty Board, where certain Twitch streamers can sign up to do a sponsored stream for a specific game. And Apex Legends was on the Bounty Board for, I want to say, a full month.
Wow.
So people could just say, yeah, I want to stream Apex
cool.
Legends and get paid for it. Thank you so much, Respawn. So they probably sunk a ton of money into that.
But with no other advertising campaign. That was their advertising campaign.
And now they have, what was it, 50 million players and so much Twitch watch time that they can advertise. And some of the major Twitch streamers that primarily used to stream Fortnite are now streaming Apex Legends.
Do you think that Apex is pulling more audience and community now? I mean, now that we've sort of equalized from that burst of excitement over something new, do you think that they're hammering more on Fortnite, or do you think that they're absorbing all of the other sort of PUBGs, Black Ops, even Titanfall?
Yeah.
I still have a couple of friends and some Twitch streamers that are like, you know, I'll sit and watch some Team Fortress.
Right?
Sure, why not? Do you think that's
I think they're pulling from everywhere.
From everywhere?
Yeah, I think they're pulling from everywhere for sure. I mean, like I said, I am not usually someone that's drawn to shooters or drawn to Battle Royale in general, and I'm having fun with this game, which is an incredible vote of confidence. It's a very nice thing to say about that game, and I felt the same way about Titanfall, to be perfectly frank.
Yeah, you were kicking my ass all over Titanfall.
I just have fun with Titanfall. I'm not great at it, but I just have fun with it. But you know what? Maybe the Battle Royale contender that we should be talking about right now is Tetris 99.
Yes.
Have you gotten your hands on Tetris 99 at all yet?
No.
You don't have a Switch? Is
I don't
that what
have
you're
a
about
Switch.
to tell me?
Yeah.
Brokenhearted.
So we are considering some kind of like mom gaming showdown as like a tease for something that might happen.
Oh, you mean here at Newegg?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're supposed to talk about that, but sure.
But if we do,
okay,
there is the games that my mom raised me on were like Atari and fast reflex action gaming. So like my mom can still kick my ass at Tempest, that old Atari, like you're looking down a tunnel and bugs are crawling up the sides and she's just like, you go around the outside.
Go Juan's mom.
And like, you know, she grew up in that era of like Pinball Wizard. So, you know, like trackball, and like she goes flow state like almost immediately, where it takes me a couple rounds to kind of get my feel back into a game like that.
Love it.
So
She's
we're
in the zone.
we're looking at Tetris, and maybe, because she also got purple highlights. So I mean, like she's got way more cred for someone than I do.
Way cooler than all of us.
I'm just like,
I think
we have to do something with this. But because of that, like I've suddenly gotten, I've been just jamming Tetris Effect.
Tetris Effect is great.
But because
So
I
good.
like that just chill, calm, it's 2 in the morning and my wife and my daughter have finally gone to bed and I finished my script and I've edited a video and I just want to like zone. And it's so beautiful that like the pressure and the frenetic action of Tetris 99 is actually kind of intimidating. Like, but
it is. It's a very different play style because you can't just focus on your solo game of Tetris. You need to constantly wonder, you know, which kind of attack style are you going to be playing? Who are you attacking? Are you playing defense at all or not?
But see, and I'm an under the radar guy. Like I would want to see if I could, how far I could get just by like staying off other people's radars. And you can't.
Yeah,
you can't.
Slow
play
so
it.
you need to be able to multitask your game of Tetris.
The best I did in Fortnite was like I'm gonna try and camp and hide and like, I'm not going to be, the Katniss. I'm going to see if I can just evade for as long as possible.
That's how I play Apex Legends, which is not how you're supposed to play that game.
Run away!
I saw Felly Feljinx in the Twitch chat says, I was playing lots of Overwatch prior to Apex, and now I'm about 50-50, is what you said, 50-50 Overwatch and Apex, which is very cool.
Now, do you think that we could start gamifying some of these older titles? Like, it's hilarious to me that in 2019 we're having legit, hardcore gaming conversations about Tetris.
Because it's an amazing game.
Because it's amazing. Like, I would kind of like to see some of these other titles sort of tweaked for, like a Dig Dug. A competitive Dig Dug. That's so silly, but why not?
Anything 80s and early 90s is such a nostalgia grab that's going to make money right now that I say, yes, bring back Dig Dug.
So like Dan Campieri on the YouTube chat, Tetris and all the cool 80s games. You're like,
yeah.
Why not? We can totally do that.
Absolutely. Yep. So we are with you guys. And that's the Battle Royale answer from the Newegg community, is that Apex Legends will be the Fortnite of 2019. That's it.
Yeah. So a couple other comments we got here. Novocaine, it already did at launch.
Ooh, at launch. Throwing it out early. So for
Apex already unseated.
It had a great
launch.
Yeah,
Fortnite,
it had a really great launch.
Fortnite is so 2000 and late. K Murph, Fortnite is better for streaming in the number of breaks throughout a round, and kids like Fortnite better. Fortnite won't be dethroned for this reason right now, but it will certainly hurt it. Perhaps give Fortnite another year and then user fatigue.
Maybe, and people talked about user fatigue being one of the reasons that so many people were into Apex at launch.
But it kind of happened with PUBG.
It did, but I think bringing up the cartoony art style and the oh-so-shareable dance moves and all of those aspects of Fortnite that do draw in a younger crowd, that's not something to be, to shrug off. That is a really big deal, and the fact that it's had so much success with children who are primarily your internet content consumers, I mean, they're the ones that can boost the views into the millions if you're going to go that route. That is nothing to sneeze at, for sure. I think that Fortnite will always have a grab there.
Do you think that those age demographics are going to sort of play out more over time, that Apex is going to skew a couple years older, Black Ops is going to skew probably more towards people my age on generation after generation after generation of military shooters, and then Fortnite will skew younger?
I do think that Fortnite skews a little younger, which probably helps with its watch time as far as streaming goes. But as far as player base, I don't know that the numbers will be crazy different.
You think it'll be a more even spread?
Well, I think that there's, and I could be totally wrong. I don't have a child that is of age to be watching these things, but my guess would be that there are more kids watching Fortnite streams than there are kids actually playing.
Right on.
Fortnite, but I don't know that for sure. That's just a guess. We'd love to hear what you guys think in chat.
You'll be proud because we still haven't really exposed Lex to gaming.
Okay.
But over the Christmas break, we didn't get a chance to talk about this. Uncle Tony brought his Switch, and Lex was all about Mario Kart.
Mario Kart's a great game.
So
I have a nephew about the same age as Lex who is all about Smash Bros.
Ooh,
and is pretty good at it.
Good times.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I'm not so good at the Smash Bros. No, this is, I'll just be old and go back and play some Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, my nephew's 3.5. He is always playing as Purple Yoshi, and he's pretty good.
So we got just two other comments here from your poll. From Kawhi, no, Fortnite is the WoW of this generation.
Ooh,
that's a big claim right now.
That's a big claim.
Everyone wants it to die, and every new battle royale is the supposed killer. It's the same thing as when everyone thought every new MMO was going to be the WoW killer, but it never was.
That's true.
Do you think Fortnite can be the game you're married to over
not
successive
for me.
generations?
I mean, most definitely not marrying Fortnite.
Or not specifically you, but I mean for a player base out there.
That's such a hard comparison for me at an emotional level because
claims.
WoW means so much to me and it's such a very different experience than Fortnite. But I certainly understand the comparison that you're making in the comments there. Oh man, yeah, it's hard for me to say it's the WoW of this generation. But that being said, I'm not 13 right now.
True.
So maybe.
That's also relevant to this discussion.
You know?
I am most definitely not 13. I just like the reply from Burn Taco 94. No, not at all.
Okay.
And I kind of imagined that that's how he said it when he typed it out. One last comment here from your YouTube poll, Cesar Gomez, or Cesar Gomez. All depends on the devs and how often they push updates with content and the quality of that
100%.
content.
I 100% agree. I think that's exactly what it's going to depend on. And I think they came out and said something like they're going to release 2 new Legends every 3 months or every month or something like that. And so people are anxiously awaiting that.
Yeah, I kind of want to see how that's executed because I feel like Overwatch set a standard for reveals, new content, and new characters. That if you skew a little too close to Overwatch, well, why don't you just play Overwatch? You know, why don't you just keep doing that? But you still want to borrow what worked well there and incorporate some of those lessons. You don't have to learn all those lessons all on your own.
Yes, and I apologize. We can only see about half the chat right now, but Harley Sportsman has a comment, says, my boys are 12 and 14, and when asked about Apex, something. So if someone out there could give us the second half of that comment, then
it looks like a pretty good comment.
That would be rad. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say because that's exactly what we're talking about.
But Steve DeRoche, WoW was the EverQuest killer. I mean, again, there have been some of these dethronings. Like there was a time where EverQuest was indomitable until it wasn't.
Right.
So I kind of feel like there's always some of that potential. And then also, it's just like, I feel like there's also ways that something can exist below, like, the king, you know? Like, just because, Tyler Boyce, my first MMORPG was Star Wars The Old Republic, you know? Talking about some of those and other, I mean, like, that was a great game.
I feel like it's a very why not both. It's kind of the same, just bringing it back around to mobile phones as well. It's the same thing you and I always talk about with mobile phone competition. Competition makes everybody better.
Yes.
So let's just, if by competing with other Battle Royale genre games, we get better games out of it, it's fantastic for the consumer. If foldable phones, by competing with each other, make better, more practical use case phones, the consumers are happy.
But, yes. But that's also, I mean, again, my vote was for Stardew Valley. So that's kind of
also a great game.
I'm at right now.
Also a great game.
I got to tell you, like, for as much like hate and for as many just terrible comments that I get about mobile gaming, there is something really interesting happening in getting good console ports to our phones. And like, I feel like we could be a generation away from phones delivering Nintendo Switch style or quality gaming experiences. It's just, we need a little bit more love over there. And then your $1,000 phone is also your like a good gaming solution. Like $1,000 phone suddenly starts having a few more arguments for it.
Oh no, I can't game on a phone.
Why not? Just imagine you can have like your Switch.
I love that you love mobile gaming. And I follow you for, if I'm going to get a mobile game, what should I get? Right now, the only game on my phone is Hearthstone.
See, okay, but I mean, I think that's a perfect example of being able to take that with you. And then we could have like game streaming services. So I could I was playing Cuphead on my phone over Steam Link, and then Thumper just came out for Android, and it's this freaky, nightmarish rhythm violence game that like you're a little bug and you've got to destroy these monsters, and like the Android port of it is really good. I mean, like there's some ideas in there that could be really interesting. I'm just,
I totally see how we could get there. I follow your logic, and I totally see how we could get there.
Tyler Boyce on YouTube playing KOTOR on his smartphone. We can't get new KOTOR for consoles or for PCs, but you can go back and relive some nights of the Old Republic on your phone. And
I like some Knights of the Old Republic, but I put it on my PC. But anyway, let's kind of wrap up the video game conversation because we have something entirely different for you, and now for something else.
And now for something completely different.
So I got a chance to mess around with the Samsung Q9FN 65-inch QLED 4K UHD television. You know, Samsung, real good with those compact names. But I got a chance to mess around with the TV and mess around with what it can do as far as HDR gaming. So while we're taking a look at gaming, I don't think this video has gone up anywhere else on Newegg yet. Why don't you guys
the first look.
Take a look at the video that we made.
Do it.
So HDR, what is it? And how is HDR gaming different from HDR video? HDR video or HDR gaming generally means you're going to get better contrast. It means that you're going to get ramped up brightness. And it also means that you're going to get a wider color range. And in general, have a more photorealistic experience on your display. Now, where HDR gaming differs from HDR video is you've got a lot more to factor in. You need a system capable of outputting HDR content, you need a display capable of showing HDR content, and then you need HDR content. So there's a lot of different things at play. When I say a system that's capable of putting out HDR content, the PS4 Pro is one that'll do that for you, the Xbox One S or newer, not the original Xbox One. And then for PC gamers, HDR gaming is something we've been able to experience for supposedly up to 12 years, but off and on, and it is a little bit trickier than that. If you are an NVIDIA fan, you're going to need a GTX 900, GTX 1000, or 20 series card in order to have some HDR gaming fun in your life. And if you're an AMD fan, you're going to need either Polaris or a high-end Vega GPU in your system. Another thing that's kind of tricky about PC HDR gaming is Windows 10 is not always the coolest and has been kind of vague about their support of HDR gaming. Now granted, yes, you can go in the settings and toggle it on. Some people say it's not the best experience or it only really looks good for certain titles. I will leave that up to you to fiddle with your settings. But in theory, when HDR gaming works, it is beautiful. It is the fine dining of gaming cuisines, if that makes any sense to you at all. Another thing I'll say about Windows 10 HDR is that when you are not gaming, the content is less than perfect. That's the part of the cuisine that they give away at the end of the evening. Now, the reason I wanted to bring QLED technology into this video is because it supports HDR and you need the bright brights and the colors of QLED technology to really make HDR shine. So what does QLED mean? It's an LED TV that's enhanced with quantum dot technology. That makes your brights brighter, it makes your darks darker, and it gives you more colors. Now, the quantum dot technology does not emit any light on its own, which I think is an area that a lot of people got kind of confused. It acts more like a filter, and when the light is shown through it, then it gives you those benefits. Now, right behind me, this is the Samsung Q9 FN, and pardon me while I check my notes, 65-inch QLED 4K UHD QHDR Elite Max Smart TV. There you go, I got it. Just like any displays, it's got a really long name that means a lot of cool stuff. So let's break down what that is. The Samsung Q9 FN uses HDR 10 Plus technology, which is Samsung's name for and standard of HDR technology that other manufacturers are now starting to adopt. It is the best of the best. It uses dynamic metadata to individually adjust shot by shot, scene by scene to give you the best HDR experience possible. And I have to say, it looks absolutely stunning. Now, where gamers need to pay attention is the auto game mode function on the Samsung Q9 FN. Now, Samsung claims that that will give you a 15 millisecond minimal input lag by having your TV electronically bypass some of its visual processors to get you that super speedy performance that can really make or break your gameplay depending what genre of game you play most often. Obviously, bypassing two visual processors could decrease your picture quality a little bit. However, because the Q9 FN is already starting with such a gorgeous picture, even a small decrease in that picture will still be better than most displays that are out there currently. Or that's the theory, at least. One of the things I really liked about game mode in this TV is it enhanced the audio so beautifully. When you switch game mode from on to off manually, you can really tell a difference in the audio. Now, depending on the settings that you have the television adjusted to and which system you're using and again which game you're playing, your visual settings are going to be a little bit hit or miss, or at least they were for us, but the audio change is absolutely gorgeous. And again, because you're starting with such brilliant peak brightness levels, even a slight darkening of the picture is still a really nice high quality experience. Now, the auto part of auto game mode means that the game mode will automatically launch when a game launches, which is great because manually toggling between them, whether you're using Samsung's artificial intelligent assistants, Bixby, or you're doing it with the remote, is a little bit of a pain in the butt. It has a little more lag than I think one would be willing to wait for when you just want to get in the game, so that auto feature is really beautiful. Now, that being said, sometimes your game will go into a loading screen and the auto game mode feature will toggle on and off a little bit. Hopefully this is something that could be fixed in a future update. But having the ability for it to auto turn on so you're not readjusting your settings for each specific title is a really nice benefit, and I'm glad to see Samsung paying attention to that in their displays. I'm also really happy to see Samsung bringing some previously PC-only gaming features to a television. It supports FreeSync, there's variable refresh rates, and for those of us who may have thought, you know, I have a console, but I prefer gaming on my PC for these reasons, it's nice to see the console games and titles get some love too, as we've seen beautiful console titles like Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, Spider-Man. I mean, we want to see these in HDR glory too, so thank you, Samsung, for that. One of the more interesting features found on the Samsung Q9 line is Ambient Mode. Now, Ambient Mode is for when your television isn't directly in use, but you still want it to add to the overall look of your living room. So this could feature family photos, it could play some background music, maybe your favorite artwork, or you can even take a picture of the backdrop behind your television, display that on your television, and have a bit of an invisible TV look going for you. Very fun. And Samsung has certainly taken aesthetics into consideration here. They've got what they're calling one clear connection, which is excellent cable management. Both the AV and the power are going through one cable that goes beautifully down the back of the stand there, so no cables to be seen. And they go to the One Connect box, which is a box that comes with the television that acts as an HDMI switcher. It gives you the capabilities of a universal remote to control all of your different devices, and I would love to see that box have a little bit smaller of a footprint, if we're gonna be honest. There are other competing devices out there that you can buy separately. Granted, this is a separate expense, it does not come with the television, that are a bit smaller in footprint. Now, we can excuse the fact that this year's One Connect box is a little bit bulkier because it is including the power in there as well. Technology being what it is, we get it. But yeah, I would love to see a little bit of a smaller footprint there. It's about the size of a gaming console right now. So if you are looking for just that clean entertainment center look, you might have to put that in a cabinet or bury that down somewhere. But I digress. Having one universal remote to control your various different devices, having only one cable come out the back of the television is a really clean look, and it's certainly a more luxurious user experience when we're talking televisions. So today we've given a very brief overview and look into HDR technology, QLED technology, and given you a little bit of our first impressions playing around with the Samsung Q9 FN. Guys, if you have played around with HDR gaming and you have specific settings or specific titles you really enjoy, please feel free to comment on those in the comment section below. We'd love to hear what you have to say, and maybe we can all swap tips, huh? All right, thank you so much for watching that video. Give us a like and a subscribe, and ding that bell, and we'll see you in future episodes here from Newegg. Bye-bye.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad we got that heads up.
Conversation that we are not allowed to repeat.
It would have been grossly inappropriate for any
very
type of live
inappropriate.
stream. And,
but anyway, you know what? Let's take what we were just talking about and turn it into big televisions.
Yes.
We'll talk about big televisions instead.
We're not talking about big other things at all.
You shush your mouth.
I have a little laptop.
Big phones. We're talking about big
phones.
So I wanted to answer some questions that I saw in chat during that video. Tyler Boyce on YouTube had asked some questions about the verbal commands. And that's all through Samsung's Bixby. A lot of Samsung smart TVs have that kind of thing. They like to show off that you can use smart things to have all of your different connected devices voice controlled, and you could say, you know, Bixby, it's movie time, and it would lower your shades and lower your lights and, you know, all that beautiful stuff. So that's on there. The reason that we were using voice commands was not so you could change your game settings on the fly. It was actually just easier than going through the menu. and we were trying to look at and listen to the difference between game mode being on and game mode being off. So that was just the method we were using to control the settings.
Now, I feel like that's still maybe the one argument I can give positively for Bixby.
Okay.
Is that it's actually really good at those macros where you can give it like 4 or 5 commands and then like train them together with it's movie time, and then your smart lights dim and your blinds close, and then the TV comes on and ambient lighting, blah 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 blah. Because I actually haven't really seen the video with sound, so I mean, like I don't know what you guys just saw during the live stream. Did we ever figure out exactly what game mode on that TV does?
We did.
Okay.
It reduces input latency, so it bypasses some of the visual processing power. So it actually is not intended to make the video look better. It's intended to make the game performance better.
Okay,
yes.
good.
Now
you called me in while I was talking about creative sound bars, and I have no idea what differences I might be seeing here. So I'm glad that it was.
Yes, but the sound difference was beautiful, and you heard that firsthand.
Yeah, totally. Some really good, fun directional tweaks to the audio. Yeah. That was cool.
So it was cool to get a chance to play around with that television. I always like knowing what's going on with the various peripherals, not just of my PC gaming setup in my office, but also my entertainment setup in my living room. And for people who are primarily console players, then something like the Samsung Q9 FN is a really interesting look at what's going on right now in the industry.
Do you just wish that they had names?
Yes. So before I talked about tech on the internet, I actually worked for Samsung's IT department for a while. And let me just tell you, their monitor names...
The worst?
The worst.
Real bad.
Just always a series of letters and numbers. And there's no other name other than that. So when you're talking about a new monitor, you have to refer to it as, the S27Q54, blah, 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 whatever it is.
I feel we should just start giving them code names.
Sure.
So, like the Q9...
What should we codename the Q9 FN?
Boysenberry.
Boysenberry.
We should name every Samsung TV after our favorite syrups at IHOP.
Well, then people will confuse it with Android OSs.
Well, good.
If it's sweet, edible things.
But desserts, no. We'll just the the Q9 70-inch.
Q3 Becker says, using my old SyncMaster PX2370. Ah, yes.
I remember that one well, of course. I spent many a day staring at a PX 2370.
Yep. So thank you guys for watching that video on Samsung Boysenberry. As always, because this is Newegg, you know where you can find said things that we talk about. And thank you so much to the Newegg Plays audience for welcoming us on your Twitch channel. This is the first time
kind of step in here.
Juan and I have streamed to Twitch. So hats off to Mike for making that all happen behind the scenes. You're great.
And side by side with some phenomenal chatter on the YouTubes too. I even saw, unfortunately, because we've got chats going in and TeamSpeak and we're doing this kind of casual, like I even saw a couple people out there on the Periscopes coming straight from the Twitters.
Too.
So I appreciate you guys jumping in, checking us out, because this is something we want to try and incorporate more. I feel like this went well. I don't know.
Sure.
I like talking to you.
Juan and I have these conversations anyway, so we might as well put a camera on it as kind of how we pitched it to everyone at Newegg. But seriously, we want to have these conversations with you because the more opinions we can get in this, the better. And also, we want to kind of communally dictate what Newegg's content is going to be moving forward. Totally. So thank you guys all so much for being here. Thank you for watching this stream. And hopefully we'll do something like this maybe again next week.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Something like that could happen.
Maybe. Are we getting
2 weeks?
2 weeks?
In
2 weeks is what we're being told from off camera?
Okay. Wes is saying
maybe in like 2 weeks?
Yeah. Maybe...
Oh, thumbs up, Mike. And hopefully we can crash a Newegg Plays stream pretty soon and just play games with you guys, because I need that break.
Totally.
Just personally.
Well, I like playing games. We just don't get to show how terrible I am at them very often. But I really want to put you down in front of like Thumper on a phone and then watch you like rage quit by throwing a phone.
It could happen. And everybody, just in case you missed the video we did last year, Juan is amazing at Beat Saber. So don't let him tell you that he is awful at every video game. He is amazing at Beat Saber.
Well, it was fun to dance to.
Yep.
So
There you have it.
I'm real good at that.
There you have it.
Yeah. So let's wrap this puppy up. Again, thank you so much for joining us, for joining this live chat. So many channels that you can follow this on, from like Twitter and Periscope to the Newegg YouTube channel to the Twitch channel, the Mixer channel, and we're looking at these ways that we can join conversations with you folks. So also be on the lookout for more of these like viewer polls.
Yeah.
Because the conversations that we're getting out of that are way more interesting to us, which means hopefully that we can talk about it and it'll be a lot more fun.
Yes. So again, thank you times a million for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bam.
Bye, guys.